Welcome to the Agility in Real Life podcast, Take 5 in Real Life. Now your hosts, Mike Studeman and Jeff Lee.
Hi, and welcome back to the take5IRL podcast. I'm one of your hosts and a partner at Agility IRL, Jeff Lee.
And I'm your other host and also partner at Agility IRL, Mike Studeman. Jeff, I hope you're having a good day.
Fabulous day, Mike.
So, Jeff, I wanted to use this episode to talk about a topic that's near and dear to both of our hearts, the product backlog.
Mm-hmm.
So, been doing a lot of classes here recently, and a number of questions have come up regarding the product backlog. So I thought I'd give you a few of these and get your take on some of the challenges commonly associated with a product backlog. Are you up for the challenge?
Well, let's do it, Mike. See if I can jump into the Mike Studeman role here.
That sounds dangerous, but let's proceed anyways. So first one I'll give you is I'm a product owner. I've been told that I'm the only one that writes product backlog items under Scrum. True or false?
I'm going to say that's false. The product owner, you are accountable for the product backlog items to be written, to be understood, to be communicated as needed. That doesn't mean you have to write them all, right? There are things that don't make sense for a product owner to write. You may have things that are more technical in nature. You may have things that maybe someone else has more expertise. Maybe you're just staffed in a way where your product owner isn't in the weeds as much, and that's delegated. As a product owner, you can delegate a lot of things that are the accountability of the product owner. The trick with delegation is that means it's delegated. So you also have to accept that whoever you've delegated this to, they get to do it, and you have to deal with the consequences there.
Yeah, I think delegation's a key skill to have as a good product owner. Maybe a topic for another podcast episode. But for now, let me throw another.
Well, before you do, I mean, how are you keeping score? Or did I pass? Did I fail?
Yeah, you nailed it. We have 1 point on the board, Jeff. 1 point on the board. No. So another topic related to the product backlog. Does everything have to be a user story?
Interesting. We've talked about user stories on the podcast before. They are not part of Scrum. By definition, then everything doesn't have to be a user story. But what if you're using user stories and you want things to be user story? Maybe you have some reasons for that. Still, not everything's going to make sense to be a user story. The people, there's a standard format for that as a whatever kind of customer or user I am, blah, 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 blah. Well, if I'm writing stories that say I'm a database and I want to get upgraded, I mean, the point of user stories is to put a connection, right? Some empathy between the people doing the work and the people who are going to be consuming it. As much as we want the computers to be part of our lives, we don't need to have empathy for a database. We just need to upgrade the thing.
Couldn't agree more. In fact, as I oftentimes say, user stories must involve users. If you have stuff that users don't care about or aren't even aware of, don't force it into that format. So you're 2 for 2, Jeff.
Oh, exceeding expectations.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Exceeding expectations, much better record than the local football teams around here have right now.
We're not going to get into that.
Yeah. So let's see if you can go 3 for 3.
All right.
Should I start my user stories with the word user?
Well, again, we just talked about user stories. Again, perfectly fine thing to have in your product backlog. Saying user doesn't generate a lot of empathy, last I checked, right? Like, who is this person? What are they doing, right? As a system administrator, I want to blah, blah, blah. As a clinician, I want to do whatever, right? That puts me as a person building this product into the shoes of someone who's going to be consuming the work, and I can really understand what they're trying to do, what their motivations are. As a user, it doesn't do that.
So what are some techniques that you would recommend that people use to get beyond user? I mean, you gave us a couple of examples there, but are there some specific techniques that we should put in our toolbox to kind of get beyond user in the real world?
Well, one of them is visiting your users, right? Visiting your customers, visiting
Whoa.
I know.
Stop the presses. You're talking about actually going and talking to customers? This is radical.
Yes, and not only product owners, developers can do this too. Again, Scrum term developers, testers, whomever is, on your Scrum team, go visit them. You're going to learn a lot about what they do. You're going to understand them much better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I always remember the Japanese word gemba. If you've ever been in a lean shop, they'll talk about going to gemba. Go to the place where the work is done. Go and see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, Jeff, I have a number of other dysfunctions that I could throw in front of you, but you've hit every one out of the park. You're 3 for 3. If you were a baseball player, you'd be in the Hall of Fame. So we should probably wrap up this episode. But before we do, if our listeners want to get more techniques on how to better manage product backlogs, do you have an upcoming class that would maybe help them with that?
Funny you should mention that, Mike. It's kind of an exciting point in time right now because scrum.org just launched a new class to fill this gap that we have out there. That's all about product backlog management. It's called Professional Scrum Product Backlog Management Skills. One-day class that includes a whole host of things on understanding your customers, understanding your stakeholders, as well as managing a product backlog effectively. So check out that class. As yes, it just so happens that I'm going to be hosting some soon and ongoing. So go ahead and look me up on scrum.org, on agilityirl.com. See what we have coming up.
Yeah, and I'll say I think it's a great offering in the market. A lot of our clients in the quote unquote real world struggle with these issues. So check out Jeff's class and pick up more tips and tricks on how to deal with the product backlog.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for seeing my unexpected success in navigating Mike's questions here. And look forward to seeing you in a future edition of the Take5IRL podcast.
Thanks again, everyone.
The product vision for Take5 in real life is to provide members of the Agile community with an idea that they can incorporate into their daily lives to make them more effective. We thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.